Today I'm going to teach about using inferencing while reading. Inferencing is really important because when students read either picture books or magazines or in the older grades textbooks, it's a way for them to predict the outcome by thinking about what they're reading and also looking at the pictures. So I'm going to be showing you with a couple of the images and passages from Jack and the Beanstalk. So in the beginning, we're looking at the cover of the page, and it shows us that there's a little boy at the bottom, and he has a heart, and he's pointing at this big giant. And you notice that his facial expression, he seems really mischievous, and he seems like he's almost angry. So I think looking at the cover of the page, it can almost tell us that this might be a bad guy, and this might be a little boy who's running away from him. Early the next morning, Jack set out for the market with Milky White ambling alongside behind him. It was a fine, bright, sunny day. Before they had gone very far, they met a farmer. "Where are you going with your cow?" asked the farmer. "I'm taking her to London town to sell her in the market. I'll get a good price for such a fine cow." "I'll give you a good price for her right now and save you the trip," said the farmer. "What will you pay?" asked Jack. "I'll pay you 10 of these beans," said the farmer. 10 beans!" exclaimed Jack. "What kind of a bargain is that?" "Trust me," said the farmer. "These are no ordinary beans. These are magic beans. Plant them, and they'll bring you good fortune. And see how pretty they are." He poured the beans into Jack's hand. Indeed, they were very pretty. They sparkled with every color of the rainbow. Jack was dazzled. "It's really more than I should give you for that cow," said the farmer. "You'd never do as well at the market. Believe me." This was enough to persuade Jack. And besides, he was curious about the magic beans. What kind of good fortune would they bring? He kissed Milky White goodbye and hurried home proudly to tell his mother of his clever trade. So after reading a passage like this, you would think about what you just read. So we just found out that Jack sold his cow for 10 beans. But he doesn't know what's going to grow because the farmer never really told him exactly what's going to grow. So one question you can ask yourself is, what do you think the beans are going to grow into? Do you think his mom's going to be mad? Do you think she's going to be glad? And you can also look at the picture too. The picture shows us that Jack is selling the beans to the farmer, and you see Milky White, his cow. So right now we would predict that maybe it can grow into a beanstalk only because the title says Jack and the Beanstalk. Then the giant rubbed his hands on his belly, leaned back in his chair, and called out, "Wife, bring me my money bags." His poor wife, staggering under their weight, brought him 2 big leather bags filled with golden coins. He poured the coins out on the table and counted them over and over, chortling gleefully. "My father's fortune," thought Jack. "I must take it back to my mother somehow." As Jack watched from his hiding place, the giant put all the coins carefully back into the 2 bags and tied them firmly. Then he placed the heavy bags under his chair and ordered his dog to guard them. Only then did he go down the hall to his bedroom. Soon he was snoring as loudly as a cage full of growling bears. Finally the dog, too, shut his eyes. Jack crept quietly out of the oven, but as soon as he put his hand on one of the bags of coins, the dog leaped up and began to bark. Jack stood still for a moment, frozen with fear. Then he saw a piece of meat on the table and threw it to the dog, who stopped barking and settled down to devour it. Hastily, Jack lifted up the 2 bags, put one on each shoulder, and ran to the top of the beanstalk. Climbing down was hard, though, carrying the heavy bags, and it took him almost 2 days to get home. So after this passage, we find out that he's stealing something while the giant is sleeping. So we can ask ourselves, why didn't the giant wake up? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think he's going to take the coins and take it to his mom? Well, by reading this passage, we can inference and guess that he's going to bring the coins to his mom and they're going to be very happy together. So these are some strategies to ask yourself and think about while you're reading a picture book to look at the pictures and to summarize what you just read, to be able to ask yourself what's going to happen and to predict outcomes. And that's how you would inference with a picture book like Jack and the Beanstalk.